Chris.
Heath.
Soaring through the airwaves, it's you and me.
Just like old times.
That's right. Although the old times are changing because remember today's episode is sponsored by every other airline because Frontier grounded me.
Yes.
I feel so this is my only public platform, and so I gotta say something that I know is going to be controversial. They're a poo-poo plane service.
Go for it, Heath. Air your grievances. It's your one chance.
Well, I bought the special thing so that I could take Bailey out of sunny Western New York down to someplace tropical. And what do? They up and leave the city.
You bought a special year-round pass?
Yes, and it was going to work around Bailey's schedule so we could like possibly get away when like I'm in between productions and she's got like a 4-day like Tuesday to Friday are off, but she's working the weekend. We would possibly like abscond. Yeah.
That's the word.
How many points did I get from that SAT word? So I bought these passes for both of us. And what does the Department of Aviation for our county say? That starting as soon as the passes activate, Frontier is no longer servicing our city?
They did you dirty.
Yeah, what do I do? And so my refund request is in the mail.
Pending.
Yeah. Who knows whether or not I'll get my money back before you get Metroid Prime 4. Or what's that game called?
Metroid
Fusion?
Prime Remastered.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll be talking about that later this very episode.
Will you? You'll be talking about what? You'll be talking about what? You'll be talking about her. Talking about me. Okay, go off, King.
Yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered. I'll be talking about that later this very episode.
Episode of what?
Oh, Mobius
now
Tubes.
I'm hot.
Mobius Tubes, of course, the video game podcast. Is this episode 84? I've lost track.
80. We're giving you more on episode 84.
Perfect. I have to admit, Heath, just for the listener transparency, I'm a little self-conscious with the giant camera pointed at me.
You don't need less looks. You're perfect, darling.
Oh, well, thank you. But you kind of you put up all the lighting and you pointed the camera at me, but you didn't really explain what this is going to be for.
Okay, so I'll repeat it verbatim. My brother Seth told me that if we don't add a video half of our audio podcast, he would turn himself into an only child, which is extreme because we have other siblings. So all I'm doing is I'm just recording this so that he can. All I'm doing is recording this so that he can like just look at it, know exactly what the product is, and then possibly because he's just big on this. He's high on his own TikTok supply.
He has TikTok success.
He is a C-level TikToker,
right?
And he wants me to share in the bounty.
So you're going to put the MP4 file in his hands and kind of let him run with it.
Right. And then he'll tell us that, I don't know, our backdrop is too girly because Bailey decorates this apartment.
It would probably be cooler if
he's going to say fewer N-words would be better for algorithmically.
Right, especially after last episode.
There's going to be a weird boost in episode 83 metric of people going back to be like, what did he say?
Yeah. Maybe the cabinet should be open for more like to make our backdrop.
It's too distracting.
Oh,
it's the liquor cabinet.
Too much visual noise.
Okay. We'll do this. We'll do it for half of the episode.
A/B testing.
Maximum cum.
Yeah.
What a sight for eyes.
Right.
Okay. Hey, we're a video game podcast.
We sure are.
So let's. You got any esophagectomies you want to talk to us about?
Excuse me?
Just other personal items.
Oh, personal items. Nah.
No. Great. All right.
It's been status quo around the Chris household lately.
How intimidated were you by Corey's decor?
Mutual friend Corey, who lives down the street.
Friend of the show, Corey last name.
I'd been over to his bachelor pad many a time, so I'm no longer fazed by it.
I'd like to think if I were a bachelor in a one bed, one bath, I would decorate my apartment as nice as Corey has, but I think I'd end up closer to your apartment than his.
Corey and I are two opposite ends of the decoration spectrum.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right. He's got freaking chessboard next to a signed copy of Werner Herzog's memoir on his coffee table. You got HDMI 2.1 cables hanging aloft in the kitchen. It's a wide spectrum
On my barren walls. Yeah, I have very male priorities.
Maybe I take a page from each of your books and I put a freaking African wood carved boat on my wall, but also a very utilitarian boots tray.
Yeah, the best of both worlds, function and form.
Yeah.
I like to think that.
Am I still cooking with gas? Sorry.
No worries. That's enough nonsense. Let's transition into the meat of this show.
Yeah, because we have at least a couple games to talk about.
Yeah, we've been big gamers lately. I'm going to lead with the headline. This is going to be the Deathloop episode.
What does that mean for the uninitiated?
Yes. So, big surprise. Known Arkane Studios superfan Chris. He's played the latest Arkane release. A couple years late to the party, but hey, I got there eventually. I played and completed Deathloop. From Arkane Lyon, not to be confused with Arkane Austin. Those are the Prey team.
The Prey team and Red Dawn.
Redfall.
Yeah.
And then the Deathloop Dishonored team is the one in France. And yeah, surprise, surprise, one of my favorite studios made yet another one of my favorite games. I love it.
Despite the genre switch up, but Dishonored's a first-person shooter.
First-person stealthy, adjacent to an immersive sim.
Yeah.
Which Deathloop is in the same vein. So it wasn't I went in.
Deathloop doesn't have the Nemesis system. That's Lord of the Rings. What's the system called? The friggin'... other people can like Death Stranding. Other people can join your game and shoot you.
Yeah, an invasion mechanic.
But you played in offline mode.
We'll dig in. We'll unpack every aspect of this game.
Okay. Wait, sorry. What was the name of the system?
I could just call it Invasion.
Okay. All right.
It's something from software.
There was a buzzword. Yeah. From software. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Invader PvP. Yeah.
Yes. In your otherwise mostly single-player game.
Yeah.
But we're ahead of ourselves. Let's just say, jumping into
Did we say what day it was?
I think we may have missed that. It's the day after St. Patrick's Day. It's March 18th, 2023.
And you, lucky listener, are going to be have a chance of winning a copy of
what games have leprechauns in them?
Yeah. What did we just... you're going to win a copy of Tacoma from Chris here, because I already own a copy.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, remember I talked about it? It's just been collecting dust on my...
Epic Games account?
Yeah.
Oh, no worries. It was a redundant copy.
Thank God. Okay.
All right. That tangent aside, Deathloop. Jumping in, I had mixed expectations. Because on the one hand, I saw the big outlets... heaping praise upon Deathloop upon its release. IGN even gave it a 10 out of 10. But on the other hand, the more trustworthy, smaller time content creators, the hardcore Arkane fans I listen to, they said things like, Deathloop, it's fun, but it's also Arkane's weakest game to date. So I heard it was the tale of two Deathloops going in. I didn't know where I was going to land. Is it going to be a slam dunk like the IGN was saying? Or was it going to be maybe a little underwhelming like some of the smaller content creators were proposing? Maybe I'm just an Arkane shill, but I loved it. I don't understand what people were saying when they said it's the weakest output from Arkane. Oh, you have something to say?
No, I'm trying to work on a Riot Games Arkane joke,
Oh, okay.
saying that was your least favorite Arkane.
Oh,
I couldn't figure it out.
The League of Legends TV tie-in.
Just blast right through it.
Blasting through it. Here's the elevator pitch for Deathloop. You play as Colt, a man who wakes up every morning on the shores of an island, and he's in this Groundhog's Day repeating time loop, trapped on this black reef, the name of the island, and who knows how long he's been trapped here on this Art Deco architecture, 1960s vibe. A lot of weird, eccentric rich people doing all sorts of hedonistic activities because, of course, they're repeating the same day over and over. So you get onto all sorts of these weird. There's some fun world building, like there's candy everywhere because no one cares about calories because they just wake up and it's the previous day all over again.
Oh, the Groundhog Day is not exclusive to him.
Everyone knows what they've signed up for.
Oh.
It's an island of hedonism and sadism, and it's a messed up time. Colt is seemingly one of the few sane people. He wants to break the loop, end this whole charade, and it's your job as the player to figure out how to do that. And that's the elevator pitch.
Can he just leave? Can he just hop in his Colt rowboat and live out the rest of his days?
You're in like what seems to be the Arctic. So you're like surrounded by ice sheets, and touching water, you take damage right away. So
like oh my God, like many African American.
What? I thought you were gonna say like the Wicked Witch of the West.
No, that's a swimming joke. Oh God,
it's a swimming joke. I'll take your word for it.
Because they I won't explain it to you.
All right, I'm just gonna keep trucking on through.
Yikes.
Cool. And just like any Arkane game, the setting is great. Architecture is very distinct. You've got this is maybe the lightest of spoilers. Within the opening hour or two, you figure out your main objective. To break the loop, you need to perform 8 assassinations.
Oh, that was like the whole talking point of the trailer.
Yeah, it's arguably part of the elevator pitch. There's the 8 heads, the 8 people they call the visionaries of this program, the head honchos, if you will, the eccentric rich folks and scientists and artists that are running the show. You need to eliminate all 8 of them in the course of 1 calendar day. If you can accomplish that feat, evidently the loop will be broken and you'll be set free. Easier said than done, though, because just like in real life, a day is divided into quarters. There's the morning, noon, afternoon, and evening.
Okay.
And you've got these 4 time slots with which to dispatch 8 targets. And, they're all drifting around doing their own thing across the island. It's an impossible task until you start to dive into like the puzzly parts of the game where you need to line up the dominoes so that multiple visionaries are in the same location at the same time.
I can push this lady at the masquerade ball off of the balcony and land on the twins below.
You
take 3 birds out with
3 birds, one
with
stone.
one loop.
Yep, have everyone congregate at Alexis's evening party. That's a good strategy. Cool. So yeah, it's a lot of Deathloop is far more of Dishonored 3 than I realized it was going to be. Because once again, it's an Arkane game where you're assassinating targets. You've got Blink, except it's called Shift now.
Yeah.
So you're just teleporting all over the environment. It's the same vertical level design you're used to with building interiors, secret passages. Deathloop is just the greatest hits of Arkane's output over the past decade thrown at you again. It's got so many influences. You've got all your favorite Dishonored powers are back. Blink, just like I said, there's a fun one from Dishonored 2 called Domino, where you can link individuals in the environment so that they share the same fate. Meaning if you link a bunch of adversaries and you kill just one of them, or push one of them off a cliff, suddenly they all fall down to a death. They all share the same fate. It's now called Nexus in this game. They just palette swapped these power names for the new Deathloopy name and called it a day. Which, I mean, these are fun powers. I don't mind them recycling them. I can't get enough of Blink or Shift. So cool. Powers are back. Some Prey influences have crept in, like sentry guns are now part of this game. It's Dishonored with guns. That's kind of Deathloop in a nutshell.
Dishonored had a gun.
Dishonored had a gun,
Uh-huh.
like a flintlock pistol.
Yeah.
Where this is far more a modern setting with more modern weaponry. Let me check my notes.
How many Steam achievements did you get?
I have 75% of them. It'll be fun to mop up the remaining ones, I think. Yeah, so it's a mixture of Prey's shooting with Dishonored's powers, and I don't think it's not just a greatest hits remix of Arkane ideas. It's kind of a greatest hit remix of modern day video games because they've got the From Software influences with the game's unique approach to multiplayer PvP.
Oh.
It also has this persistent currency, Residium, which upon death, you'll need to go traverse back to your corpse to collect the Residium you've dropped. It's got that whole a Dark Souls death mechanic. But not just From Software. It's got looter shooter influences. Because what's one thing I wasn't used to in an Arkane game is there's like randomized loot drops. You're going to be chasing the shiny purple guns to upgrade your gray level 1 guns.
Do you hang on to it after death?
You can. Okay. So that's this whole Residium currency, Residuum, I think it's how it's pronounced. It's kind of like you don't level up in Deathloop, but this Residium currency is what you use to infuse your equipment to make it permanent.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like a roguelike in the sense that anything you don't infuse is permanently lost when you enter the next day. But anything you do infuse, you get to keep forever and ever, and the world's your oyster.
What happens when you punch in your birthday into the coded door?
Yeah, there's lots of keypads that you punch codes into.
What does 6969 get you?
I don't know.
Oh.
There is an achievement for doing 0451.
Which is the Jensen.
Yes, I think it's a Deus Ex reference.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Yeah, you do get the little dopamine drip feed of that the loot drop system, that variable reward schedule of, ooh, what am I going to get? There's literally enemies in the environment. Sometimes they'll be like glowing gold, and you'll know, ooh, that guy's a pinata for loot if you chase him down. So that's cool. That's riffing off of things like Destiny or Borderlands.
Well, you just talked about Doom's Chainsaw Boys.
Yeah, that's a resource management mechanic.
Loot pinatas.
Yeah, in Doom you have
but they
ammo.
don't flash though.
You have a flash?
They don't glow orange or blue when in the environment. These guys are gold. Okay. Just go.
Okay, I'm trying. There's almost a dash of Persona time management because you do have the opportunity cost of what do I do in the afternoon? I have 2 leads to pursue. Which one am I going to do today? It's not as cool as Persona because Persona is not in a time loop. So anything you choose not to do during a day in the Persona RPGs is lost to you forever. There's that real sunk cost.
Yeah.
Where in Deathloop, any lead you don't pursue today, you can just do in the next loop.
Yeah, it's Hitman.
Yeah. It is Hitman in that sense.
But you're Agent 45.
I guess.
Because that Colt 45 is a gun.
Oh, well done. And maybe the coolest influence. Here's a game we don't ever talk about because neither of us have played
Viva
it.
Pinata.
It's got a real Mega Man vibe to it, in the sense that These 8
Your
visionaries.
jump is terrible.
These 8 visionaries you're tracking down are, in essence, the game's 8 bosses. You can tackle them in any non-linear order you fancy, and upon defeating them, they drop what the game calls slabs, which are its supernatural powers. Which in Mega Man, when you defeat, I don't know, the 8 bosses in whichever order, you gradually accumulate their abilities.
Right.
And it's riffing on that idea. And the 8 visionaries in Deathloop, I'm not going to say you like get to love them and empathize them. They're not the most fleshed out people.
They're like BioShock mini bosses.
Yeah, they've all got
doctor.
They all have a gimmick or a quirk to them that gives them just enough personality to be very distinct and memorable, and they're just enough of an asshole to provide enough motivation to want to like hunt them down. And they've got such fun gimmicks. So I'll just spoil a couple early ones. There's Wenji, the science lady, the inventor of all the slabs. Her whole gimmick is she's cloned herself a whole bunch. So to actually eliminate her, you need to track down all 17 copies of her in the level to actually finish her off for real. And that's fun. That's her whole gimmick. And that's so unique. And then
wait, does it like imagine if you get super lucky and the first one you kill is the true Wenji, you still have 16 to go.
There is no true Wenji. They're all equally authentic.
Okay.
Yep.
It's prestige clones.
Right. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Charlie Montague. I want to jump into...
Isn't he like a Ubisoft exec?
Kind of. In the game, he's a game developer, which is just a fun meta thing for Arkane Studios to put a game dev as a boss in their game.
His ability is crunch.
I want to say Deathloop had the single best individual gaming session I've had in the past however many months. And it was right after I got through the tutorial, the deluge of tutorials, and they finally set me loose.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, first real day.
You like fall to your death at one point, and that's what triggers the respawn, right?
I'd say you exit the tutorial as soon as you gain the ability to infuse your gear and make it permanent. Then the game really begins.
And then let the legend come back to life.
Yes, thanks, Snake. Or is that Ocelot?
Yeah, you did it, yeah. They're the same character.
All right, my first real session, jump into Deathloop. I go to Updom, one of the game's 4 main areas. It's like the big city environment. And I'm walking around, and I see, off in the distance, over this precarious bridge, there's this big, like, amusement park tower in the distance with all this space theming on it. And I'm like, ooh, what's over there? This is the best session I've had in gaming in a while. And I'm like, okay, that's one of the boss's hideouts. It's this Charlie Montague game designer. Because he's in this persistent loop, he's made this game of like space laser tag, but it's with real guns to make it more realistic. And everyone's role playing as like invaders from outer space. And you're trying to invade the hideout and like take out Charlie Montague to play his game. And he's just a quirky guy. To the AI that like runs the game, to make it more powerful, Charlie cut out a part of his brain and put it in this AI device. It's just weird world building.
I would just give the AI like a 4090.
Yeah.
Surely that's enough processing power.
Probably more powerful than a chunk of a brain. But so it's this wave-based approach. You're just shooting your way up these floors of this space shootout gallery. Charlie, you eventually find him. His ability is shift, so he has teleportation, which means he's hard to pin down. You've got a hectic gunfight with him, but I eventually take him out, and I'm feeling so good because he was the first visionary I put a target on his back because
his shift is such
a
core.
It's integral.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't imagine playing Dishonored without Blink.
You know what's the girl Twitch streamer that played Breath of the Wild without going to the temple that teaches you like the advanced combat mechanics?
Oh.
She's like, I killed all the ultimate beasts or whatever
Divine beasts.
without learning how to parry or do the backflip.
Yeah.
The slow down
You'd
multi-slash.
be similarly handicapping yourself.
Had you left Charles Montague
alive for later.
to the last.
For last.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm riding a high off of that success, but then all of a sudden I get a notification on my screen. Juliana is on the hunt.
That's the girl that kills you.
So here's the Deathloop's weird, innovative multiplayer. Another real-world person can enter your game as the main antagonist, one of the visionaries named Juliana. She's the island's archivist, but she's also in charge of preserving the loop, meaning taking you, Colt, out of commission. So this player will enter, and their job is to hunt you down. And there's a cool power dynamic balancing that occurs where you, Colt, your unique slab that you enter the game with is called Reprise, which gives you the ability to respawn twice before the loop truly gets reset. You've got 3 lives. If they run out, you get kicked back to the start of the day, which is kind of like the hard reset. Juliana only has a single life, so she's at a disadvantage in that respect. But all the NPCs, all the people on the map are friendly with her.
Can she Mass Effect companion order them to like cover fire?
She can't issue orders, but if any just run-of-the-mill...
It's a predictable sandbox, yeah.
Any run-of-the-mill Eternalists, NPCs, those are what they're called, in Deathloop, spot Colt, that information is given to Juliana.
She gets Dead by Daylight vision.
She gets notifications that you've been spotted.
Okay.
So she often has the element of surprise on her side because she has more information. She's got friendly combatants that can help divide your attention.
What's the ticking clock, though? Does she despawn eventually, or can she just watch you for 1 through 7, and then when you're about to kill the 8th guy, she just claymores behind you?
She can just watch. There's not a hard time limit. There's always the risk that Colt decides to cut his losses and just leaves the map. Because
Colt,
I
asked you about that. The rowboat.
Oh, by leave the map, I mean...
thought you said the Arctic.
He's not leaving the island. He's just leaving that quarter of the day. The morning, noon, afternoon, night, you can just...
There's a checkpoint system?
So the game does not occur in real time. You choose when to advance to the next portion of the day. And you do that by just going to the exit.
Oh, I thought this was the Prey DLC.
Oh, no. The Prey DLC has this escalating feature called corruption, which it does occur in real time. Not the case in Deathloop.
I thought it was like not Dead Island. What's Dead Rising, where it's like time until the military gets here. You have 30 more minutes.
And Deathloop, your morning could last for 35 hours if you wanted it to.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just go smell all the Colt roses.
Yeah. So as I was saying in this first play session of mine, Juliana spawns. We're on the rooftops engaging in some skirmishes, some fire.
And you're positive it's not an AI?
She's real.
Okay.
At this point in the game, I had not switched it over to single player mode.
Okay.
She gets the better of me, guns me down, but I've got 2 lives left, feeling good. Now, this is early game, if she kills me, I have to redo my fight with Charlie Montague because I have not infused Shift yet. It's not a permanent upgrade for me. So there are real stakes involved.
Yeah.
That was a tough fight with Charlie Montague. All right, I'm on life 2. I'm thinking about just cutting my losses and leaving. However, there's one mechanic where the tunnel escape route for Colt gets locked when Juliana enters play, unless you hack it open. And there's only one area of the map that you can hack the signal to open the tunnels. And Juliana's aware of that, so she can stake out and defend that one little region. So I've got to keep dealing with her for now. It's a tough spot. We're in our second gunfight. It's looking dicey. I start to run away. I round the corner. She's hot on my tail. I switch to, at this point, my weaponry is pretty unimpressive, but I've got one high-powered rifle. The trade-off is it only has one bullet in the chamber before I have to do a lengthy reload. So I round the corner, I switch to my rifle, I turn around, like it's do or die time. I get one shot to take her out, but it pans out. She rounds the corner, I shoot my shot, take her down.
Wow.
She drops a bunch of goodies because you get heavily rewarded if you kill a Juliana.
I think the heaviest reward of all is the Doritos sponsorship you just landed with your 360.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hello, Mountain Dew CEO.
Yeah, so that was a high right there. And then I get out of dodge, I book it to the exit.
Only question I have is is one of the powers that you get a specter, like a decoy of Colt that looks like Colt, that just like walks forward and hunkers down and acts like a real, like the Halo. Was this in your playthrough with Better Kyle where you could do the?
That's a Halo Reach ability.
Oh well, that needs to be in every game, and I mean every, like even Animal Crossing. Okay. Because if you've seen you've surely seen the clip of the guy playing that match in Halo, where he has the decoy stand in one place, and then he pretends to be the dumb ghost image.
That's fun.
Walks past the enemy at the top of the steps, who doesn't fall for it, but actually does by trying to, and then the backstab.
It's the reverse psychology.
It's the pinnacle. It's the closest thing I can picture to that Assassin's Creed Brotherhood round the corner, come back with a disguise type of multiplayer thing that I crave.
So there is something similar in Deathloop. Juliana's inherent ability, I think it's called Masquerade. She can steal...
It's like prop hunt.
She can steal the face of any NPC in the environment.
You can look like a run-of-the-mill grunt.
Yes.
I have to play this game. Okay. That's my favorite element in any game.
There's a fun little achievement where if you copy Colt and then approach the Colt player as Colt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So you can masquerade as a run-of-the-mill NPC, and then you can walk around stupidly.
You have to beat the game before you can play as Juliana?
You just need to clear the tutorial.
Oh.
I do have some Juliana experience. So I jumped in as Juliana for about an hour. And here's what I have to say about that as an aside. First of all, cool idea. Fun, one pleasant surprise. The matchmaking lobby lines, the queue, not very long. I thought with how long the game has been out, multiplayer might be kind of dead. But no, I was getting into matches quickly, which was great. I was curious, like, since so much of the game is around this single-player Colt storyline, what's your incentive for being Juliana?
Residuum.
She has her own progression track. It's pretty lackluster. I don't think playing as Juliana carries over any progress into the main game. It's just her own independent like skill tree and stuff.
Fine, yeah. If you're the best Michael Myers in Dead by Daylight, you shouldn't get like a golden med kit as a survivor.
I suppose not. Yeah, I think the main incentive for being Juliana is just to be an internet troll, because you're the person hopping into someone's game to ruin their day, and it's like you get this Schadenfreude from it. Is that the German word?
Yeah,
the pain from someone else, pleasure from someone else's pain.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Juliana has a diverse set of playstyles. You can be the sneaky Juliana who's setting up traps. You can lay trip mines and proximity grenades. And one of them actually got me. She set up a mine right at the tunnel exit of the level that I was just running to.
Oh.
And then it blew me up and got me.
Fabulous.
I was like, I had to clap. Bravo. Yeah. The mind games. You can be a run and gun Juliana. You can be a stealthy one. The playstyles are diverse. I like that. So
because there's like a PvP co-op, you can't have the the Deadeye slow down vision as one of your Dishonored abilities.
I played in online mode with real people for a decent chunk. I don't know, maybe I had like 7 encounters with real Juliana as Colt before I turned it off for a couple reasons. The main drawback was if you're in online mode, obviously you can't pause the game at all.
Just pee in a bottle.
But I'm so used. It's ostensibly the single player game, and I'm so used to being able
Arkane Lyon wants you to piss in bottles.
But if you switch to single player mode, all of a sudden you can pause. So that was a great quality of life thing I just wanted. And the other thing was, if you switch it to offline mode, Juliana still invades. She's NPC controlled.
Yeah.
She's not as much of a threat.
No.
Having someone...
Unless she was like controlled by the AI that controls the Mario plus Rabbids. Enemy.
That would be brutal.
Unless she was Mega Dragon Bowser.
Having a real life person in your game elevates the stakes and the stress to such a degree.
Oh, yeah.
It changes the entire tone of the game.
Yeah.
It's like it's do or die time.
Yeah, it's Dead by Daylight.
She becomes priority number 1. You ignore everything else. And while that is like a really cool tone to strike, something I wasn't used to, it was just a little too much stress. I wasn't always in the mood for that level of like dialed in, here we go. Because it turns into this frantic scramble where all of the stealth goes right out the window. You're gunning for her because she's priority number 1.
Oh, fair enough. Wait, okay, and if I successfully 360 no-scope her like you did, she doesn't come back for another hour?
If you kill her once, she will not spawn again during that segment of the day.
Okay. Oh, 1 of 4.
Yep.
Great.
And she's not always guaranteed to spawn at all. You might have one afternoon where you don't encounter a Juliana.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of random to some extent.
Okay. Yeah, maybe if you're taking too long.
Yeah, it's somewhat an opaque system.
Disincentivize stealth. Okay.
Let's just.
Where do you rank it?
That's tough. It's tough. It addresses some of my biggest Arkane hangups. One thing is, here's the biggest Arkane hangup. It just completely solves, and it prevents me. The whole game prevents me from save scumming. That is a thing of the past. When I play Dishonored and I go for the ghost playthrough with the clean hands where you don't kill a single soul, never get spotted, I am F5ing, F9ing, quick save, quick reload all the time as soon as a single NPC detects me. That is literally not allowed in Deathloop. You cannot manually save because of the game's permadeath looping mechanic. The only time you get a save is when you finish a quarter of the day. So it just prevents me from being my own worst enemy. Where suddenly, if I hit a rough patch, if I get spotted, now I am forced to improvise. I can't be this anal perfectionist I'm used to being in Dishonored games. And I liked that level of forcing the improvisation on you.
That is a hang-up.
So that's great. I like that. That's the biggest fix that Deathloop introduces. The other big thing that I think is really cool is the fact that at its core DNA, Deathloop, it's looping, it's iterating. You are seeing these levels over and over and over again. That plays to such a strength of Arkane's game design, because when I play a Dishonored game, playthrough number 1, I often really like the game. And then I go in for Dishonored playthrough number 2 of my own free will because I want to do like low chaos versus high chaos mode. And I go into the same levels all over again. And suddenly my appreciation for Dishonored goes through the roof on the second playthrough, because all of a sudden I'm appreciating all the stuff that passed me by on playthrough number 1. These levels that Arkane creates, they're some of the best in the biz. They're so densely packed with detail, with verticality, with
I was going to say verticality. I was going to say Corvo actually goes through the roof sometimes.
He does. There's so many secret passages I just never picked up on a first playthrough. There's so many alternate paths. Arkane loves to emphasize player agency and discovering new things. So the fact that Deathloop forces you to get to know each of these levels like the back of your hand as you see them a dozen times before you hit the credits, so smart, because that plays to their strengths. There's always the risk of someone plays a Dishonored game once, never revisits it, doesn't realize there's this whole iceberg below the surface of things they never saw in their first playthrough. And in Deathloop, you almost can't help but see a more holistic picture of everything Arkane has crafted. Hopefully that made sense. But the looping structure of the game goes so far into getting players to really see all there is to see.
What would you rank it?
The cons. The cons. I can't help but feel a little gypped that Deathloop has 4 levels to explore, where a Dishonored game has like 9.
And 3 games.
Yeah, well, per Dishonored game. There's like 9 levels where Deathloop has 4. And granted, you get to revisit these same 4 areas at different times of the day. And they change in sometimes subtle ways, and sometimes quite overtly they change quite a great deal. So they are kind of like remixed and remashed. There's one in particular, I went back to, I think it's Friston's Rock or something. I think that's the name of the level. I've been to it several times, but I encountered it in the evening for the very first time. And suddenly, the whole Charlie Montague has been up to no good. He's tricked out the entire level with like dangerous game show contests for you to participate in.
Oh, it's like a Undertale.
For you to like earn these rewards. There's like all these bombs for you to defuse, and if you find them all, you get this sick gun. He's tricked out the place with like obstacle courses and puzzles. And I'm like, whoa! None of this here was there in the morning because Charlie Montague had to set it up over the course of the day, and it's only ready by the evening.
He canonically needs time to set it up.
Right.
I liked that.
Yes. And there's fun. Yeah. So the levels change depending on the time of day, sometimes not as much as I'd want. I wish there were a couple more to explore. Where do I rank it in the Arkane Studios canon? It's not the new number 1, that's for sure. I think it's firmly middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, between like below Dishonored, above Prey.
Definitely below Dishonored 2. It's close with Dishonored.
Yeah.
I think I do rate it above Prey. I'm more of an Arkane Lyon guy than an Arkane Austin guy.
If they remade Dishonored with ray tracing, that would be the perfect game.
I guess.
Because this is Dishonored with ray tracing.
It's Dishonored with lots of shooting.
No, but the reason you didn't play this earlier is because you wanted a new graphics card.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how much. I don't think it has ray tracing.
Well, whatever. Which graphics card make game good?
It looks very pretty.
Okay.
There's so mmany little things I want to say.
They're not making DLC. They're just blasting right through to.
Oh, good segue, Heath. So when I played this game, the game came out in the fall of 2021. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Little did I know, it got a pretty big update.
They got a loop of the Deathsider.
It got an update they called the Golden Loop, which I played. It's free of charge. Everyone has it. It came out a year after launch, so like the fall of 2022. And it added a bunch of cool goodies. It added a new ability, a new slab. It added some new unique weapons. One of the hallmarks of my playthrough was this Helps laser weapon that I got early on. I included it in every one of my runs, basically. And it was only introduced in this update. Most people who played Deathloop at launch never saw this laser gun I had. And it was integral to my playing, and most people never saw it. That's so wild to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they added new enemy types. There's like paint bomb guys. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, it kind of got some free DLC, you could call it. But I don't think there'll be any more Deathloop content. I think it's done now. So the Golden Loop update, that was fun. Oh, we need to talk about the ending. Yeah, we need to talk about the ending.
So Colt success. He pulls the knife out of the 8th guy.
So this is
the
spoiler
simulation.
Spoiler free.
Uh-huh.
Most of the criticism levied at Deathloop was because people hated the ending.
Oh, it's like Mass Effect 3.
A little bit, in more ways than one. You'll see in 1 second.
Oh.
So here's the issue. In this game, that's all about, play as you want to play. You've got so much agency. It's so non-linear. Which visionary do you take out first? There's this whole like clockwork component of how do you manage your time? How do you set up all the dominoes to have this one perfect day?
I thought you said it was called linkage.
Oh, it's Nexus. Sorry.
Nexus.
The main criticism is
No, don't say sorry.
you're doing a goof.
putting words in your mouth. Yeah.
There is one solution.
Yeah.
There's only one way to break the loop.
Oh, it's not Hitman.
It's not Hitman. It is the opposite of Hitman in that respect, where Hitman is this highly systemic game. Deathloop is kind of scripted. There's one preordained solution, and everyone who finishes Deathloop will finish it in exactly the same way. And that might have taken the wind out of the game's sails for me. I went in knowing that information. So my expectations had been adjusted accordingly. I knew that was the case. It didn't really bother
Everybody
me.
ought to know that's the case.
Yeah, I would recommend knowing that's the case because otherwise you will be disappointed. And now I think it would be really impressive if it was this super systemic, solve it as you see fit game. I mean, there's only one way to beat Outer Wilds, and that doesn't mean that's not one of my favorite
Flying
games.
to the sun.
Yeah, fly right to the sun. So yeah, knowing that information ahead of time was a antidote to that possible disappointment. So I knew that. They also, in that Golden Loop update a year later, they patched in more endgame cutscenes, actually, which is Mass Effect 3 kind of had the same thing. They introduced the extended cut, where there's actually new cutscenes at the end of Mass Effect 3 because there was such a tumultuous backlash to it. So I got a little more closure than had I played Deathloop in 2021. I would have had less closure than playing Deathloop in 2023 because of that extra story stuff.
Yeah.
All that said, there's a lot. While the game has really cool world building, really cool lore, the actual plot is a bit of a letdown. They don't explain a whole lot at the end, which I could see disappointing some folks. But I come to Arkane games purely
for gameplay,
mostly for the mechanical side of things.
Yeah.
I like their settings, but when it comes to an Arkane game plot, they're usually, fine, serviceable maybe. And that holds true for Deathloop. The plot is nothing to fall in love with. There's a whole lot of mystery, a whole lot of tickling your balls, but it doesn't amount to a great payoff at the end. So that's my criticism. That's why it doesn't ascend to the heights of Arkane's finest work. But that's Deathloop. I loved it nonetheless. It was practically made for me. It was totally the Dishonored 3 experience I wanted, with the cool divide up your day into quarters premise. I loved it. This is going to be the game to beat when we do our top 10 games at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's currently the front runner for me. I probably talked for a long ass time.
No, it was barely 50 minutes.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's siphon over to me.
Yeah, please.
You want a snack or something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so like I hinted at, I beat Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh, you did?
Story percent still on the main screen says 90%.
Oh, there's some optional stuff.
I don't care to try with it. Man, is that much in the way that Deathloop has a single solution. I sure felt like if I didn't have the right team composition, or if I went in with not max health, I was a sitting rabid duck. That game is so difficult, and you know how if you're on your phone and you open up Chrome, it'll have like recommended articles. You know, like the endless scrollification of every app.
Yeah,
I saw one article that was like most difficult Mario games from hardest to easiest, and I was like, I better see Mario plus Rabbids on here, and no, it was like Mario the Lost Levels, so they didn't go into every possible offshoot, but I was like, wow, that game is hard. Chris gave me so much bang for his buck with a Christmas present, and I'm happy to have played it, but it was it was kind of nuts.
As you start up a level, I think there's an option to either like there's a give me help option that like heals up your party.
Yeah. You hit Y on the Switch.
Would you leverage that?
I did it like fewer than 5 times.
Okay. That's an acceptable amount.
Because it's just baby mode.
Yeah. I was wondering how much you needed to lean on that.
I don't think so for the last level. Also, I love for the final boss the homage to Mario 64.
Okay. I am drawing a total blank.
You remember how Mario, like, I think, or maybe it's not Mario 64, but like, so long, gay Bowser. You've heard that before, surely.
I haven't.
So long, gay Bowser.
Yeah, did not hear
I
that
hope
before.
Chris Pratt steals that line. Mario has to in 64. Whatever. I think Bowser ends up on his shell, or if he spins the wrong and he collides with something, it causes him to be vulnerable because otherwise he had a super shield or whatever. And that's how you beat him in the Rabbids game. In 64, I think Mario has to spin Bowser into and strike one of these off-platform structures, and that's the only thing that damages him. Maybe there's just bombs at every like clock direction. If you hit him at like 9 o'clock, he actually takes damage. So I liked that. There was like a puzzle factor to the final boss. It wasn't just he has like huge health and mobs just crawling up on the stage.
They're pretty good about introducing like boss specific mechanics for you to engage with.
Opera singer.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, so that's all I had to say about Mario plus Rabbids.
Very good.
On to Mass Effect. No, let's do Call of the Sea really quick.
Okay.
So Chris told me, he said, I think you'd like this game. It's a walking simulator mystery. It's Firewatch next gen.
That's what I've heard.
So I did fire it up, and Bailey was watching me. I said, watch me beat this game, but I couldn't beat it because I was on chapter 3, and I solved the riddle of the bridge.
What's the pitch of this game?
Oh, you are girl Indiana Jones looking for your husband in the. Oh, you want me to close these blinds?
Yeah.
You're just getting. There you go. All right.
Felt like Colt was shooting a laser in my eyes through that window.
You were being blinded, like a thing that gets blinded. So you're in Call of the Sea. You row to just Fortnite Island, where we drop in, boys. You're going to this puzzle. It's very Polynesian culture, and you got to figure out what this symbol means and put it into the combination lock. And she remarks upon how like, oh, this is weirdly high tech for native tribes to build this puzzle. Oh. So the mystery abounds, and your husband had his own little expedition that had like a special like occult, like there's like a lens puzzle, and you got to figure it out, and like she's conveniently suffering from a disease that also seems to be ailing the previous members of the expedition.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm currently stuck on spoilers abound, but it's
Wait, I might play this game.
okay. I'm currently stuck on the piano puzzle. This is a game that Chris is going to have to look up hints because it doesn't. It's so bare bones. What did I write? Bare bones presentation. It's got good puzzles, but this, if you pause the game, it's just a silent screen with some artwork, and then it's like continue settings, quit. How deafeningly quiet is kind of like, wow, this is only here because compliance. It would not ship without a menu. And then similarly, you open up your little case of Golden Idol notebook, your little LA Noire journal, and it takes screenshots of all the puzzle elements that you might want to refer to, and then it also has just basically like the plot that you can also leaf through based on clues that you find. But it's written in this cursive, and granted, whenever you pick up, like, it's just like LA Noire, wherever you pick up a clue. Do you want me to close that one next?
No.
Okay. Whenever you pick up a clue, Cole Phelps or girl Indiana Jones goes, old boy, you always used to be, just looking at a photograph of her husband winning an arm wrestling contest and being like, oh, always with the forearm strength, that one. She remarks upon it, sets it down. Some of these clues will have cursive writing or just chicken scratch manuscript that you can't make out no matter how hard you zoom into the document. And similarly, if you open up the little journal thing, it doesn't like closed caption tell you in subtitle font and size.
That's not an option?
What it says. It's just script. And maybe I'm making this cursive out to be more of a doctor's signature than it ought to be, but like there is all of the money went to the Fortnite visuals and the puzzle creation. The rest of it it might as well just be like like the cheapest parts.
I see.
Like it's like a toaster from China. It'll cook you up a nice sandwich, but don't try to ship it anywhere. It'll fall apart in the box.
I have an incredibly important question about Call of the Sea. Which game has the superior settings menu? Call of the Sea or Marvel Snap?
So yeah, I reckoned with how much effort it would be to go through my Steam library and find the number of games for which it gives no audible feedback as you adjust the volume in the settings.
Yeah,
that's a project. I'm not giving it up, but it's going to be like, if I was a journalist, I would take a $5,000 stipend and then just do it. But no one has paid me that stipend, so I'm not gonna. Please, yeah, if you're interested in that sort of editorial journalistic effort, mail me $5,000 cash and I'll probably do it. This Marvel Snap, I'm gonna say that I don't know, this game, you know how games these days still have rotating saves?
Rotating saves.
Tell wake up from your nap and tell the children at home what rotating saves are. Because freaking Mario plus Rabbids, it had like three memory card. Memory cards are vestigial, right? They're no longer a thing.
You've got 3 save slots.
For the Zoomers listening, yeah. If you try to save your game, if it doesn't just automatically do it, you have slots that you can like go back and load if you're trying to play from an earlier point in the game. So this menu's got slave slots. I'll give it that over. What did I say? Slave slots. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You put Tabitha in the slot, and then she saves your game. What?
Moving on.
So that's all I have to say about Call of the Sea. Maybe Chris will play it. It's a good game. He's gonna have to tell me though, like, what's the tiki torch solution? So that's that game. If it's free, get it. On to Mass Effect 2 before Chris tucks himself in.
No, I'm awake.
Okay, so Zaid's loyalty mission, where we last left off on Mass Effect, I had done like everybody's loyalty mission except for like Zaid, and that's it.
Understandable.
So Zaid is the least likable loyalty character.
We've been trashing on him for a while.
I mean, his voice actor's great. I don't care for his character model, but I'll take it over Jack's. So you land on Blue Sun's headquarters planet. And Zaid and Shepard's like, you think you'll find your partner here? And Zaid goes, I better. I'm so mad. I'm going to kill him with my bare hands, right? And so you're walking through but no, actually, I back it up. The true mission is like we have to rescue all these like not recruits, but I think the Blue Suns took over a factory, and they're just making the engineers print space weapons. And so it's Zaid is like, I'll have a contract to kill my co-inventor of the terrorism group. And Shepard's like, I'll tag along if I can rescue these engineers, or like it's just like an interest of Cerberus.
Yeah.
So we get face to face with the CEO of the terrorist group, and Zaid is like, not. You know how there's some characters that are just so shoot from the hip, ask questions later, and that's kind of like a likable trait of theirs.
Yes.
It's not the case with Zaid. They chat for like a little bit, and I have the chance to do a renegade left click and also make things worse, but I don't do that because I'm already like way Paragon. Oh, I should also mention I was eating while playing.
Something I would never do.
Well, no, because your gaming setup is immaculate, and if I had a mouse pad surface, I wouldn't want Cheetos dust ground into it. But yeah. So I'm in between bites, and I'm in Garrus's loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2, and Garrus's mission is kill Sedanis.
Yeah.
And we lure. I know. The mission. It goes in. It has a contender to be the worst loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2.
Oh, really?
Because what are you doing? You're like walking on the catwalk of the Citadel's marketplace.
Yeah, like a maintenance shaft.
And you're just at a crawl speed. You just stalking this politician and his bodyguard as they like shake hands with all the merchants that I've told it was my favorite store on the Citadel. And then I like the only thing to like add some tension is Shepard comes across like a janitor, and the janitor's like, you're not supposed to be here, and he could be like, I was told to clean up a mess in aisle 6 basically, and like that's a friggin' dialogue QTE. So we get to the end of the mission. I'm chomping on something delicious, and Garrus is like, I'm ready to take the shot because he's from a sniper's point, and John Shepard is like, Garrus is a good guy at heart. He feels bad for killing the rest of his team, and this Sedanis guy is not evil for the sake of it. We ought to forgive and forget type of thing. And Garrus is like, no, I need to take the shot now. Out of my way, Shepard. And Shepard, I don't know, like Sedanis. I think I did a good thing, and I told Shepard. I made Shepard tell Sedanis, hey, Garrus is trying to kill you. Just the two of you need to work it out. We don't need more bloodshed. And Sedanis is like, oh, I'm getting out of here. And he just bolts. And I think I had the opportunity to Paragon save him by like tackling him or whatever. But I'm like trying to dust off my hands with all this, all my Dorito dust.
Rookie mistake.
And I missed the Paragon QTE, and Garrus kills Sedanis.
Yeah,
I'm not going to have Sedanis in Mass Effect 3 when I need his like battle points, because apparently that's what you're doing in Mass Effect 3. I played a little bit of it.
Nice.
So now I don't have Sedonis, and I'm like, crap. Do I save scum? Do I F6 and 7? But I just rolled with it because, as you will come to find, you will just have to take the deaths as they come.
Ooh.
So back to Zaid's loyalty mission.
Yeah. How did we get on that tangent? Why did we just insert Garrus's loyalty mission in the middle of Zaid's?
Because I remembered the freaking I was introducing the Paragon Renegade QuickTime event clicks.
Okay,
and how I didn't choose. I deliberately didn't click it in Zaid.
And sometimes
I wanted to save Sedonis for plot significance, but I was covered in pasta.
Yeah, sometimes you miss the Paragon prompt because you were licking your lips.
Basically, yeah. So Zaid is just Zaid decides to shoot behind like a pipe behind the big bad, and Blue Sun's guy is like, haha, old man, your aim is rusty, and he's like, oh, I didn't try to kill you, and then he like bashes the butt of his rifle on like a valve, and it causes the whole factory to erupt.
Yeah.
And Shepard is like, what are you doing? We have like a dozen or so civilians we're trying to rescue. And Zaid is just like, yeah, this is screw those pedestrians. I need to finish what I started. And then you combat way through the thing, and we get to the last moment. What is Zaid like? I was paid to follow you, Shepard, but if Jimmy gets away, that's on you, right? Or something like that. And so we take the long route to save the pedestrians. We get to the garage where Jimmy is flying away on his spaceship, and we're shooting at him, but he's getting too far away. And Zaid is like, I blame you for. I think Zaid like contemplates suicide. I might be forgetting that. But he blames Shepard for letting the bad guy go away, and that's why I don't get the loyalty up in the character select screen.
Wow.
When it comes time to it. So I'm like, whatever. Hopefully like what Chris says, I put so little investment into Zaid. Maybe this is a good thing. So that was loyal. That was the last loyalty mission I had to do before the end of the game. Also, before we get to the suicide mission, which is, I know you're dying to know.
I'm dying for that.
The Firewalker VTOL missions.
Yeah, that's DLC.
Oh my God. I would pay to not play them.
Pay to remove it from the game.
Yes. Yeah, so okay. Mass Effect 1 had the truck.
The Mako.
The Mako. I'm piloting it across the surface of the moon. And yeah, it controlled as well as a 2008 game's truck could control. When did Mass Effect 1 come out?
2007.
Oh, I nailed it. Okay. But man, it's not that the VTOL controls bad. It controls okay. I still have no idea how long the hub. You know how Yoshi, if you hold the button, he goes, and then his feet little kick, and you know exactly how long of flutter you have until he falls back down.
Yes, great feedback.
The VTOL, I wish it went and told me, because it'll kind of like beep, but like everything else kind of beeps on this thing. And also, what's the reason you touch down on this planet is to like research archaeological dig sites.
Yeah.
And you have to press a button for that. And as you're doing it, the VTOL just kind of like
hovers or shakes in place.
Like as if Joker's just taking the stick and he's just shaking it around. And if you don't like kind of if you don't try to calibrate over this like glowing yellow fart gas rock, it'll go and you have to redo it again. And so I'm like, that's already putting me on edge. The reason this mission sucks is because it has no checkpoints.
Whoa.
Specifically the second one. The first one I did was fine. Actually, the first one I did. So it's the first one I did was all about verticality, right? So it's just you have to cruise on up tilted rocks to get to the higher tilted rocks.
Yeah.
I beat that level, and as soon as you beat it, it's like. Ready to zoom back to the Normandy, and you're like, affirmative. Yeah. And you get back there, and suddenly it starts playing this cutscene with Joker. and Joker is I don't know, he's flying through like a dust cloud or something like that. And then suddenly the collector ship just warps next to us. And he's like, "Oh no!" And Edie says, "They're boarding." And Joker, and I'm like,
"Yeah, dude."
And I go, "This is a nightmare." Joker's gonna wake up from space sleep and be like, "What a terrible dream." And Shepard's gonna be like, "You all right, Joker? Had one of your classic character nightmares?" Because I haven't talked to Joker ever. I'm always talking to Kelly after these missions.
Oh man, so like you.
So Joker is like, or no, Edie says, "There's no time to get to the. There's a safe spot on the Normandy that I think seals off during like invasions or whatever."
Yeah.
They can't warp out of there. So Edie's like, crawl through the air ducts, Joker. Because doesn't Joker got his like, he got basically Batgirled right into his spine not working.
He has brittle bone disease.
Yeah,
something like that.
Which makes that's good for a pilot to have. Story wise, sorry, any brittle bone pilots. So I'm watching this play. I'm playing as Joker, right? Which is
yes.
I've
the only time you ever transition playable character.
Right, you've played as Shepard for like 40 hours.
You're like 60 hours in, and suddenly.
So I'm thinking this is a fun dream sequence. Remember Batman Arkham Asylum? Or no, Arkham Asylum? Yes, yeah. You play as the Joker for like a second during a scarecrow nightmare induced drug tripping.
Yes,
so
very
I'm
cool.
I'm like, hats off BioWare. This is a fun cinematic moment that I'll just wake up from consequence free. So Joker makes his way down to like the second thing, and it's a tableau of collectors just like dragging human beings by the ankles, kicking and screaming, and like the two engineer buddies that I chummed with every time I went to
One's Scottish, right?
Yeah, sure. Every time I went to like go flirt with Tally, I would see them in my periphery. One of the lady one is getting like pulled by the hips by this collector. She's going like into the elevator, and it shuts closed, and I'm like, this is nuts,
right?
So whatever. Joker gets to the freaking AI core brainscape, and Edie's like, plug me in. And Joker's like, that is forbidden by Alliance Code 5 Section 3. And then whatever. Edie takes control of the ship, and they barrel roll out of there, I think. But like the cutscene keeps going, and I'm like, is this not a dream sequence? And it turns out the collectors actually did come and take every NPC off of the Normandy.
While Shepard was like running an errand or something.
And I thought this was like the consequence of my little VTOL research rock collecting thing. I'm like, that mission is so consequential.
That happens to everyone.
Okay. Wait, what do you mean that my misconception?
No, every playthrough of Mass Effect 2 has the scene where your entire crew gets abducted.
Okay, but at a random point?
At a variable point.
Okay.
And yeah, it's so trippy because just like you said, it's such a it's so jarring to suddenly play as someone other than Shepard, and also it's like, oh man, your home base, you're like your place of sanctuary, of safety, the Normandy.
Yeah.
The one place you can fall back to for a respite, that's the place that's being invaded and taken over. Yeah, it's a cool scene.
It's just good writing, yeah. To have that whatever, the not the meeting of the goddess, but like the atonement of the father or whatever. That's like the bottom of the story circle. So great. And I go, that's crazy. But there's more of these Firewalker VTOL missions.
Okay.
So I do the second one. The second one is the one that made me want. I would not play that again for charity. It was so hard.
Wow. Okay.
Because Geth are dropping in.
Yeah.
And I don't like. They got the Breath of the Wild laser. What are the creepy crawlies? The music is like yeah. Anyway, the protectors, Guardians.
Geth Guardians?
No, in Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
the laser
Guardians.
guys are Guardians.
Okay, yeah.
The Geth, the Geth praying mantis guys, they got the same kind of laser. It's not nearly as obvious when they are locked on your VTOL, and if they one hit kill you, you have to start the whole thing over. So there's 5 collection spots. I absolutely made it to like the second one and died. Made it to the third one, died. Made it to the fourth one, died.
That's
made
rough.
it to the fifth one, died. There was never a point in which I seamlessly progressed to the next thing.
It was 1 step forward, 4 steps back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And think where were the checkpoints?
That sounds egregious. Wow.
It was, and maybe I was just way too aggressive because like there was only one means of defending yourself in the VTOL. It's just the cannon. I think I lost the machine gun that I had on the Mako.
Okay,
but like I can't stress enough how much. Forget the suicide mission. That mission made me want to kill myself. So that's Project Firewalker.
Not a highlight.
VTOL, and I was just thinking back to you, Chris. I love the Dune Buggy Demolition Derby Batman Arkham Knight sections. You probably these VTOL missions probably got you wetter than the flirting in this game. So on to the suicide mission.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the Firewalker mission.
Chris!
I mean, it's not like my favorite part of the game or anything, but I liked it way more than the Mako. That's for sure.
Remember last episode? I think it was last episode where I talked about games on which we diverged
the most.
You could distill all of this into one super game that would make me gouge my eyes out. So on to that's hilarious. I'm so glad you say that. And every time I died, an unskippable cutscene of Shepard walking with his 2 crewmates to the hangar and then going orbital dropping into the scene and then listening to the VTOL AI pilot go like, clusters of mineral deposits. Like just I wanted to if BioWare still exists, right?
They do. Although I would argue it's kind of a Ship of Theseus situation where it's been a long time since the BioWare that cranked out games I cared about existed.
Right.
So who can say who is at that studio these days?
Who can say is among my squad these days.
Ooh, so here we go.
On to the suicide mission. Chris, you're going to have to answer questions because I didn't look up
the flowchart.
What exactly happened? There's a flowchart?
There's a gigantic flowchart that tells you how you got different squad survival statuses.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, great. This is going to be the most informative thing I've ever done.
You want me to consult the flowchart?
You should pull this up.
All right, I'm going to find it.
So, what's the preface? You're going into, you hop into the Omega 4 relay. And the reason you're doing this is because that's where the Collector's main base is. And if you defeat the Collectors in their main base, or maybe it's, maybe there's like an EMP you're supposed to set off in the Collector space, and that'll kill them all. Yeah, there's basically
there's the flowchart.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, it's complex.
Okay, great. Just as interrupt as needed. So the Normandy flies into the astro. Of course, there's more rocks than not rocks in this asteroid field. And Joker is the best. Here's the first question: is like, had I not upgraded the ship, would the Normandy have just blown up as you're flying through these asteroids? That's a critical game over screen.
As I zoom in, the resolution on this flowchart is ass.
Okay, so
I need to find a better one.
I will proceed. So you touch down, right? And what does Shepard say? He's like, we need certain people to like take point. First of all, who's going to crawl through the air ducts to open our doors so that the main squad can actually get into the base proper? And what does Jacob say? Jacob's like, I'll do it. I am a technical specialist, and you need a technical specialist. And then it pulls up the drop-down menu of like, who do you want to send into the air ducts? And I should have taken, I think that's BioWare saying like, Put Jacob in there. He's expendable. We're not gonna flesh him out in Mass Effect 3. He doesn't have as much of a. He's not as That's just take him at. You should listen to what he's saying. But then I go like, I being the dumb video game player in 2010. This is 2010.
It was.
I think like. I like Morden for this, and I shove Morden in the air duct.
He's also a technical specialist,
and and as I pick him, Morden goes, it's just like I'll be a hero like Kirihee, just being
hold
real,
the line,
just being a real chat about it, and then conversely, it's like, oh, who's gonna lead B team? And I know like a tiny bit where if you choose somebody who sucks, like I'm going into this, Zaid and Jack are the only two neutral loyalty squad mates.
Okay.
So I know they can't lead B team because if they do, they're going to just walk blindly into just a collector is going to, much like Chris, just single bullet headshot kill my entire guys. So I'm like, Garrus, you lead B team. And Garrus just like, Garrus is one of the most likable characters in the whole series.
Yeah, he's got good person skills, charismatic.
And I took care of his loyalty thing. Maybe if Sedonis went a different way, he would have been unreliable. Maybe only the flowchart can only tell. So okay, so we're going through this thing, and there's a little meter in the bottom left that says air duct temperature. And Morden's like, Shepard, hurry up! It's heating up in here. I'm cooking my tentacle helmet. And so you get all the way. I'm making sure to go swiftly because I know if it reaches 100, he's dead. I know that much. It's the suicide mission. So I get all the way through, and we get to this door, and it's like we need to hack the door closed to like seal off because otherwise. There's just way too many enemies on that side. So the door is like, it's closing. There's like a 3-foot gap, a 2-foot gap, a 1-foot gap. And then Morden kind of just leans his head in to like look through the gap, and a collector pops him right between his big eyes.
No, dude.
Yeah, Morden's gone.
Whoa.
Yeah. This happens to you.
Oh my God.
This happens to everyone, I assume.
Oh my God.
I went fast enough, and Morden was loyal enough, but I guess I just lost a dice roll, and Shepard.
Holy shit.
And Shepard just. Oh, I forgot to mention, I did Morden's loyalty mission.
Yeah. You only had 2 that weren't.
On I was gonna say Krevchenko, but that's the bad guy in Black Ops.
Okay.
What's Tachanka? That's what it was.
Dude, Morden has pivotal scenes in ME3.
I know this, and then I also watched a video that was like, who are the best like filler characters for squad mates that die, and hopefully, and I heard like the list started off with Morden's replacement.
Okay,
so I'm I
have never seen Morden's replacement,
so look forward to that, right? So Morden just disappears into that good night, and I'm like, we've already sustained heavy losses. So then the next trial is like, okay, in between the first trial and the next trial, Kelly gets liquefied. I think we find all the little pods that the Normandy's crew have they're just in Matrix bubbles.
Yes.
Just being used as batteries.
Food. Yeah, food batteries.
Actually, I know exactly what they're being used for. They turned into DNA soup. And so
which crew members were you able to rescue?
I rescue some. Oh, I rescue Chakwas.
Okay.
Dr. Chakwas.
Was she the sole survivor?
There's a sole survivor?
You saved no one else besides Dr. Chakwas.
I had dialogue with Dr. Chakwas, but then as far as like, I know that Kelly basically just gets like drain pipe sucked down and screams.
Okay.
So is she gone?
I think so.
Oh my God, I wanted to have...
I remember that much where the number of surviving crewmates you're able to rescue is determined by how many missions you undertake in between the abduction and the suicide mission. The more missions you do in between, the fewer surviving crew members.
Oh, that is the ticking clock. Yes.
So in my first playthrough, I did all sorts of stuff in between, and
Right.
Dr. Chakwas was my only survivor.
Oh, okay, that must be what. Okay, yeah, because I've already talked to Dr. Chakwas in Mass Effect 3. Okay, well, rip Kelly. I didn't even. She wasn't even among my rest in
those
pieces.
two engineers in your periphery when you're flirting up Tali, they're super dead.
They were just blurry in the background anyway. So I mean, I did do their fancy upgrade that they asked for of the engines. So
Right.
that's their legacy.
That's their hallmark.
Hey, the collector base is full of like bugs, full of like locusts. We need a biotic to put up a force field, and then just like Overwatch, deliver the payload, go really slowly through this next part of the mission within the bubble. Because if you step out of the bubble, you get your Fortnite in the storm. You start taking damage. Who do you want? Who's your go-to biotic? Again, I can't pick Jack because
She's neutral.
she's gonna just I don't know, say something. She's gonna like take comeuppance with just like the most blasé order and be like, I don't have to listen to you and kill all of us. So I choose Miranda.
Okay.
And we're getting to the end of this. We're getting to the end of the slow crawl segment 2, and Miranda's like, you can literally see her walking animation just deteriorate. She's just like, she's like Shakira in that one music video that you haven't seen. She's just like, I can't take much more. Where Shakira's in that like meat tunnel.
Okay.
more ice cool down your core for you to look up.
Yeah, more homework.
And what happens? I think Miranda passes out, and friggin' Grunt or somebody's got to like pick her up, and everybody's I think there's like another closing door that's just
Lots of sliding doors.
This is, I feel like if we had an engineer that could shut them fast, I could have saved like a dozen people. But what happens is the force field is gone, so the little bugs start grabbing on the people, and Samara is lifted up into the sky, and Samara is taken away. She's gone
By bugs?
by bugs.
Whoa.
This happened to you.
No.
What do you mean?
Samara was alive and kicking for me.
She's a goner now.
And that was Samara and not Morinth, I take it.
Right. I was not horny for Morinth. I
Okay.
did not get baited.
You didn't get the game over screen when you tried to romance Morinth?
I've seen it, but
Nice.
I did not partake. Nor can you romance Samara,
No.
because she just says like in another life, and then another door closes in between the two of you. So yeah, Samara gets taken away, and I'm like, she wasn't even my pick or whatever. It's just probably like a random thing. Despite me doing her loyalty mission, so I'm like, these rules are screwy, BioWare. But I forget what the third mission is. I forget who the third. Friggin' Dr. Chakwas. Thank God you're alive. Who's gonna escort Dr. Chakwas back to the Normandy? I think she can like walk by herself if you're a maniac, or you can send her with the squad mate.
Okay.
And so I send her with Legion,
Cool.
because I think Legion is not gonna blow it in this setting, and he
reliable.
doesn't. Like, I think there's like a little walkie-talkie thing where it's like Dr. Chuck was made it, and I'm like, hats off to you, Legion. Did you see the freaking what's the reason? Oh, I must have wrote it down. The reason that what's the thing where Legion says that the reason that the heretics are different is just because of like a rounding error? It's something crazy, right? Because Legion's the robot, Geth, and is just has to build a consensus for everything. And I think that the virus, that was the pivotal choice, right? Do you all these Geth that sided with Saren and the collectors and whatever?
This is Legion's loyalty mission you're talking about.
What the fuck are what's the Reapers? Yes. It's just a small detour. You can either choose to just upload. What's that purple monkey virus that destroys Windows machines? It's like Bonanza.
Okay. Take your word for it.
But yeah, you can upload a virus to kill all these geth, or you can upload a patch and turn them into
friendlies.
Not turn them into friendlies, but like make them kind of see their own way, and like they can have their own little consensus. And I'm already thinking Mass Effect 3 brain being like, I need just fodder to put between me and these Reapers. So
allies.
So I choose the virus method.
Which is that highlighted as a Paragon or a Renegade choice? Because it's like one of the drawbacks of Mass Effect, everything's coded in this binary language of Paragon, Renegade, when in reality, that kind of ethical choice is all shades of gray. Do you wipe out the synthetic life form or reprogram it entirely?
Yeah, just
to your...
delete their belief in their false god.
Yeah. Just overwrite them.
I'm just, you know what? My Shepard thinks that's a Paragon way to go.
A-okay.
And if that were to happen to, if they were an analogous situation to happen to human beings, just
sign them up.
Yeah.
While we're in Detour Land, I want to flash to one revelation that, since you haven't brought up, I'm assuming it maybe wasn't a really big pop-off moment for you. Maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, how did you feel about the revelation when you found out who the collectors are?
Oh, they're Protheans.
They're Protheans.
They're Protheans that just got manipulated into being Reapers.
Reaper corrupted Protheans. Yeah.
That was way back. That was like episodes ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever came up on the show.
That's the same. I know, but it's the it's not the IFF. It's the what does Martin Sheen have you do?
It might have been the IFF. Well,
no, IFF is
you were investigating like a derelict collector's ship?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it kicks on to life, and no, I did talk about how in the Elusive Man is like,
he knew it was risky, but he
knew it was a trap, not just that it was risky.
Right.
And it was just like my best Martin Sheen. What is it? We take into consideration these risks. No, I can't do Martin Sheen.
I liked it.
Shepard, you have to understand. I got to be smoking. So I don't know the Prothean revelation. I think I was more excited to talk to a VI of a Prothean in 1 than I was just like, whoa, this thing that has a name also has another name.
Okay.
I can't. It's lost on me. Maybe. I mean, heckin', the whole point of this franchise is giving things that you saw more heft through backwards, just like
build up,
richer narrative after the fact. I didn't give a crap about the moon mission until this AI thing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, maybe I'll love the fact that the collectors are Protheans. I don't know. So Legion saves Dr. Chakwas in the suicide mission. Rip Samara, Rip Morden, Rip. 4 people died. Who else died?
2 more to go.
Yeah, dude. It's just the body bags in the Normandy.
Oh my gosh.
I forget who oh no, I wrote it down.
Let me guess. Is it? No, Tali's alive, right?
Yes. Oh well,
okay.
I mean. Maybe I wouldn't have blue balled you that hard.
Okay.
Because Liara wasn't on the mission.
Oh yeah, she wasn't.
Blue balls. No, I would imagine if I was just building up to that.
Would have saved Scummed. Yeah.
Will you say that? Because they hook up on the Normandy before the suicide mission.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know.
Mission accomplished.
It says however many happiness points. So I think somewhere in the middle of the suicide mission, I forget. You pick another B squad mate that has to do a diversion. I think.
Okay.
A classic diversion, right? And I go, Thane, you're Thane, my favorite green hitman buddy, who doesn't have long to live anyway. You're perfect for this. And yeah, he slowly eats it and dies without a word. So I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah. I don't know what I could have done different.
Ooh.
Until we do this flowchart. I ought to look up this flowchart as long as we're recording.
Man.
But hey,
I have to say, Samara, no great loss when it comes to Mass Effect 3. Thane's got some good scenes, though.
Darn it.
Yeah.
And Morden.
And especially Morden. Holy shit.
Yeah, him and Rex aren't gonna have the comeuppance or whatever.
Right.
Okay. You get to the final boss of this, the final boss. Great podcasting. And it's it's a big Terminator.
Yeah, it's a human Reaper.
It's a human Reaper, which you're just combining buzzwords at this point for me. It's a massive Destructoid. So it's composed of human DNA, but it's just a metal Terminator face.
Yeah.
And so you kill him and you pick 2 squad mates, and lo and behold, one of these squad mates dies. I forget who was my other squad mate.
Okay.
Because what did I learn is Samara was because of course, like every other mission in Mass Effect 2, you pick 2 buddies.
Yep.
And I learned from the Samara thing. Samara was one of my buddies, so I'm like, one of these people is fair game.
Yeah.
As much as Morden too, but I picked him for the special. And I picked Miranda for the special, but she didn't bite it. So I'm like, okay, if one of my squad mates is fair game, hey Zaid, let's fight this final boss together, right? And so you're killing the Terminator, also because he's like heavy damage or whatever. But I'm killing the Terminator, and the platforms start crumbling, right? Because I think also between that and then. Elusive Man pops up in a hologram and goes, "Great job, Shepard! You've defeated the human menace, the big robot. I need you to put the keys under the mat, so to speak, and leave this collector base for Cerberus to analyze."
Yeah.
And I think Miranda, of course, because she's still alive, thankfully. Maybe that's why she has like a little bit of plot armor. Because Miranda goes, that would be wrong to do. These collectors it's way too dangerous. We know the Reapers are coming, especially me, because I already dealt with them.
You played the Arrival DLC.
That's right. Miranda has a little character arc growth, disagreeing with the Elusive Man, telling them that like, the Elusive Man has some sort of quip and says like, you won't be an employee of the month, Miranda. It'll go to Jacob this time. But I decide to keep the base, also thinking I'm gonna need it for when the Reapers show up, and it'll be at my disposal. Because I'm such a good Shepard.
That's the Renegade option, right?
Is it?
Okay. I see.
Only flowchart can tell. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you make that decision. The platforms start crumbling. Oh, we got to get Joker's on the horn, and we got to Shepard. We're running out of time. The platforms collapse. Oh, we're doing that classic thing where your 2 heroes are like sliding down a slanted roof, and you got to grab onto the one of them before the other one falls off. It's Zaid, and I was like, we're gonna drop him, and then, but no, Shepard grabs onto Zaid, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But then like they both fall anyway, and then they both like just pancake, and everybody comes to, and Shepard like tries to lift Zaid up, and his head just kind of rolls over, and then it's like. That is the end of Zaid's chapter. So the death toll was Morden, Samara, Kelly, and the engineers, Thane and Zaid.
Some big losses there.
And I imagine that's the case for everyone.
Well, I mean, there is an achievement to make it through casualty free.
Explain.
You need the flowchart.
No, Chris, that's why you exist. You gotta be my guy.
Everyone needs to be max loyalty.
That's super hard.
Everyone max loyalty. You need all the upgrades on your ship. You need certain people.
I did have all the upgrades on my ship.
All right, good.
Like even like the ammo capacity one.
Probably
Oh,
any
that's-
Normandy upgrade. You need
Even the one that's just like Shepard has 5% more healing in his helmet. Like
ship specific upgrades, not necessarily
I feel
for
like I
Shepard.
did. Okay.
All right. Certain people are better suited for the specialty tasks you assign
Clearly,
them to.
Jacob would have rocked it in the hot air duct.
Yeah, that's what I know off the top of my head.
Great. Okay. That's Mass Effect 2. I did nothing after the suicide mission. I didn't try to boot it back up. I just went straight into Mass Effect 3.
Can't blame you.
And because I just wanted to get through the tutorial. I knew Mass Effect 3's tutorial was going to be long.
Okay.
And it was long. And boy, does Admiral Hackett just emerge as a main character. I'm
Gets
like,
a lot of FaceTime all
I'm
of
like,
a sudden.
wow, yeah.
Keith David?
Keith David is Lieutenant Anderson. Or
Oh.
Colonel Anderson.
Yeah, sorry. I was picturing him.
Yeah.
You're talking about Hackett.
Right,
Okay.
rightly so. We kind of just breezed past the whole nuking the Batarian colony. It was just a clean way to get Shepard to Earth and get him grounded.
Yeah.
And then classic, man, is I don't know what to call it. I think I'm already pretty sure that Mass Effect 2 is going to be like my favorite of these games.
It's my favorite.
And rightly so, right? Because Mass Effect 3, they go all like Uncharted, Nathan Drake, Hollywood zazz.
It is a little more like big budget set piece.
Shepard is like looking into the eyes of this little boy.
The little boy
My God, I hate. I'm
reaches
so
out his
cynical.
hand in the air duct.
I don't want to talk about and then he like the Reapers attack New York City or whatever, and they send a missile straight towards the. If anybody's seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you know, like the Time Lords and like Doctor Strange is on trial, and it's all like the smartest people in the universe. A missile just straight through to the like where all the important people are sitting, and like the huge if you watch Rick and Morty, it's the Council of Ricks, right? They're all up on a high precipice or whatever, proscenium looking down on lowly Shepard, and like the desk flies over Shepard, and we gotta crawl through we have to escape with Lieutenant Anderson, and it's giving you like hold shift to run, and, you know, it just I wish for a game that's like so considerate on. You played the last one, right? There should have been like why do current Pokemon games feed you the tutorial? Because it's made for babies, right? Is Mass Effect 3 made for babies? No. I'm dealing with, I mean, they don't curse, but I'm dealing with adult themes and all of them. You should absolutely, if you import a save, skip the tutorial. Go straight into like mid-game difficulty combat.
Gotcha.
I that's just my wish, but whatever. Paul Marketing says that's gonna alienate new users. So, and Mass Effect 3 is the best selling.
I have no idea. Probably
Because so you wouldn't want to. God forbid somebody chooses like seasoned difficulty mode and bypasses the tutorial and never gets to the terrible ending. So. Yes, just circling back to what Chris said. There's this little, Shepard and Anderson are going through the rubble of Citadel, or not Citadel, Earth Alliance, just the United Nations. And it takes we could go out through this air duct, and he sees a little boy, and Shepard's like, and it's a perfect Paragon Renegade. What are the dialogue lines? It's like, you don't have to be afraid. And then the Renegade one is like, come on out, kid. Like, I gotta shimmy through that air duct so I can get to my Normandy. And then Lieutenant Anderson is like, Shepard, you coming? No, that's not even my best Keith David. But Shepard's like, yeah, I'll be right there. But I gotta get this, and looks and turns back, and the kid is gone. Did you imagine it? And you were, we crank the cheese all the way up when Shepard has a dream sequence on the Normandy of being in the woods. And sees the little kid like totally outer wilds, just like a non-Euclidean space, just walking, and then like as the tree obscures him, he appears over there and he's walking, and then the cutscene ends with the child burning in a flame, like in stone-faced emotion, and Shepard's like, oh, and then so that's setting the scene. Hey, we got the whole gang back together. It's Ashley and Liara and this new guy, this Chad, I don't know his name. And we have to, what do we have to do? We have to go, the elusive man is your buddy from Mass Effect 2. He's just like the secondary antagonist.
That's fair to say, yes.
And and me having just played Mass Effect 2, I don't know what to think about it.
Mixed emotions.
I'm kind of just like, wow, immediate comeuppance letting him have the collector base.
Yeah, probably not the right call.
I think like I guess it just goes to show, but I think I should have been like tipped off a little bit more that like I was just given the keys to the castle to bad guys,
nefarious
people who
actor.
I'm going to shoot in the next game. So anyway, a hot robot lady, I shoot her in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
That's again, we are Hollywood.
Big budget. Yeah.
Well, Mass Effect 2 was a big budget, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was big bang for my buck.
For sure.
But yeah, so far in Mass Effect 3, I don't know. We did the Mars excavation. I don't even know where I left off, but overall, I'm excited for the ticking clock in this game, surely, because it's just gonna be like Fable 3.
Oh, how so?
Remember in Fable 3, you're trying to like build up the treasury because you know like the shadow people are coming.
Sure.
And you make morality decisions based on that, and that's just gonna be this game. It's just gonna be recruiting all of the warriors. Because I already talked to the council, and they were like, "We have our own homeworlds to protect. We don't give a crap." But then who tells me? Oh, I gotta go freaking babysit. Oh, it was cool to see like the Citadel's police chief is now like the mayor.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Is
his name Bailey?
Yeah. That was cool to see. Just another thing. Dr. Chakwas being in med bay because Ashley is like out of commission for the first, just so that you can have a different squad mate on the thing. That's fine.
You've opened your skill tree menu, right? Isn't it interesting? What? You've looked at your skills, right?
No.
Oh. Wow. Not at all? Not your level up screen?
No.
You've played this game for hours, right?
Yeah, I've got through the tutorial. I got through Mars.
You haven't taken a single...
I'm about to go to Quarians.
You've never glanced at your build?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say...
I didn't really do that in Mass Effect 2 either.
Huh.
I just auto-leveled up.
You have an interesting way to play RPGs. Okay.
I'm in it so I can wax poetic about the story elements to you.
Okay. I was just going to say... Well, I guess you can't comment on it, but isn't it interesting how, like, in Mass Effect 3, all the skill points some of them are, like, already allocated because you imported a Mass Effect 2 save
I'll take
character.
your word for it.
All right, just let's pass right on over that segment.
What am I missing? 5% up damage? Like,
I was just going to say how Mass Effect 3, you don't start with this, like, blank canvas of a skill tree. Because you come in with character progress from Mass Effect 2.
I come in with story choices.
Story choices and character progression.
If you say so.
All right. That's why I said let's move right on.
All right. Well, that's all I have to say. What questions do you have?
Oh, no questions really. Yeah, I see.
Next episode we'll have to talk about what I've come to find from this flowchart.
Yeah, do a flowchart deep dive. Tell me if it's fair or not. And yeah, rest assured, the best parts of Mass Effect 3 are still to come. there's a lot of redeeming factors to it. It's not all just glitzy Hollywood big action scenes.
Right.
Very cool.
What happens now?
I've got one space game to talk about. Yeah. Metroid Prime arrived.
Oh, that's a space game.
Yep. Lo and behold, I did not have to wait all the way until late March, only early March. So
Samus is back.
Samus Aran is back. This time landing on Talon 4. Yes, so
because Metroid Prime 3 was on Talon 3.
This is the original Metroid Prime.
I don't know what Metroid games are.
Okay, I'm coming to know them myself. So yes, I'm playing Metroid Prime Remastered on the Switch, and my copy arrived. It's fun. It's cool. Here's the thing. I can't help but be slightly disappointed. Admittedly, I'm in the early goings. I just got out of the snow area. I have the upgrade to the morph ball called the charge ball. That's where I am.
Yeah.
For the big super fans out there who can pinpoint my exact progression percentage. But here's the thing. Metroid Prime, I couldn't help but see the universal praise it was garnering.
Universe.
Yeah. Metacritic, it's chilling at a 94. Ooh,
that's better than 13 Sentinels.
That's really good. IGN gave it a 10, just like Deathloop. The original 2002 GameCube release of Metroid Prime has a 97 on Metacritic. That puts it in the territory of like greatest games of all time.
Of Fata Morgana.
That's like Ocarina of Time levels.
That's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
Yeah, I think so. One of them at least. So I went into this game thinking like this is going to be on the jaw on the floor experience. Holy shit, what am I signing up for? And what I got was merely a great game. It's not blowing my socks off. It's totally fine and fun, but I do not see how the critics arrived at their decision of like mid to high 90s. That's totally off base to me. This game's like, I don't know, an 8, maybe a 7.5, somewhere around there. So it's great. This is, of course, the pitch for Metroid Prime is it's yet another Metroidvania style game, except this time it's a first-person shooter perspective. It's not in 2D. You are totally a 3D environment. You're doing platforming, 3D platforming, jumping. If you hop into your morph ball, you're rolling around like a roller coaster. You're going any which way.
That part's not first person. Otherwise,
no.
you would.
It zooms out to third person. And it's funny walking through some of the environments, seeing these like literal half pipes for you to like roll up and down on once you get the morph ball upgrade. And you're like, I'll be back here to do some Tony Hawk skating on this, I guess.
Play the sound effect. They just heard it.
Okay.
Just like the stunt, like the,
Yeah. When you transform.
No, when you get a Tony Hawk trick.
Oh, that's where you're going
stick
for.
the landing.
Gotcha. Not a Metroid sound effect.
No, all Metroids sound like.
Yeah, they do. So you're shooting at space pirates, and you're just blasting the local ecology of this game. Just plants and animals. You're gunning them down. I hope Samus has her hunting license papers in order.
Is there like a Pikmin that's just walking around that Samus wastes?
So yeah, it's been fun. It's hard to categorize it's a first person shooter in kind of the same way Portal 2 is a first person shooter. Like it's a first person perspective. You're definitely pulling the trigger, but the emphasis of the game is really more on the puzzle solving and exploration with some occasional combat thrown in. And it is funny to me because I just recently played Metroid Dread, the latest 2D installment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this game, yeah, it's first person, so that's a big difference, but we are hitting all the same like progression beats here, almost to a T. Like I get the morph ball. I get the Varia suit. So now I guess what? I get to go to the hot areas just like I did in Metroid Dread. It's like deja vu. It's like, oh, man, is this a Deathloop game? Because it certainly feels like I'm doing the same thing again from just a slightly different perspective. So maybe I didn't leave enough of a gap between my Metroid playthroughs for the novelty to come back. It's also being unfavorably compared to all the other first-person shooter games I just played, because I'm hot off the heels of Doom Eternal, Deathloop, and Halo Infinite, where like Halo Infinite has the best grapple hook in the business. Doom Eternal's smooth as butter, and Deathloop shifting all over the place is just never gets old. So the game feel of all of those first-person shooters compared to what this is like a 2002 GameCube game. The game feel just does not compare. It's not nearly as sublime to engage with. So it's suffering due to those direct comparisons I can't help but make just due to the proximity of playing it back to back with those games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little external factors working against Metroid Prime for me. I still am having fun. I don't think I'm going to drop it anytime soon. I do not see the 94 on Metacritic. That seems a little overinflated to me. But yeah, it's fun. I'm going to keep trucking along. I'll report back next episode with more Metroid Prime impressions.
Do they ever do the IR sensor on the Joy-Con for you to shoot her laser arm?
I think there's lots of control scheme options. I think motion controls is an option, which would replicate the port of this game that ended up on the Wii at some point in time. There was a Wii version of this game where you did point to shoot. But I'm just playing it with the very conventional moved with the left analog stick, aim with the right.
Yeah. Which
was not how the game originally released. Just fun trivia fact, back in 2002, there wasn't this standard first-person shooter controls on a console convention that we have today. It was far more archaic and clunky.
It was tank controls?
Yeah, you could not simultaneously move and shoot in the GameCube version.
Ooh.
It was like an early Resident Evil game in that way.
Yeah.
So they've totally overhauled the controls. So that's maybe like the most important part of this remaster, the modern control scheme. So that's great. The visuals, it looks quite good for a Switch game. Yeah, it looks great. It's the title is Metroid Prime Remastered. I think they could have gotten away with calling it Metroid Prime Remake because it's more than just a little facelift. They really put some legwork in here.
Doesn't remastered sound better to the consumer than remake?
Oh, interesting. To me, I get more excited when I hear remake. Remaster,
I think
to
you're
me,
alone on that.
Remaster to me implies we've increased the frame rate and the resolution, and that's about it. Where this has like brand new assets.
I think if like maybe people are more familiar with, maybe when I say people, I don't mean just gamers. I mean like the general public is more considered like if a movie is remade, you're like, they're just looking for more money. It's like they're remaking Ghostbusters, they're remaking Spider-Man again. If they hear a remaster, it's like the thing that you already liked looks better, and you're like, oh,
yeah, you're true.
I want this remaster. It's just the prestige just comes with the word.
When we apply this vocabulary to movies, I'm with you.
It's the reverse.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
because when I hear movie and remake attached to it, my head just thinks this is an entirely new film. That's kind of telling a similar story to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Where remake for a video game, it depends because like it's the whole messy vocabulary of video game re-releases where like Final Fantasy VII Remake is a new game.
I forget what Tim Rogers called it.
A reimagining, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, you nailed it. Wow.
Okay.
I think you nailed it.
It's totally unrecognizable from 1997 Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
Where I would also call like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, I would call that a remake. The gameplay is identical, but the assets you can tell are totally completely made from scratch. So it's not like a remaster. They didn't touch things up. They built the game from the ground up, but tried to make an identical experience, which a movie would never do. They wouldn't shot for shot recreate scenes with a different actor all of a sudden, right? They would do a totally different thing.
What's Kevin Spacey, Christopher Plummer? What's that movie called? What's the movie called?
Did they have to like patch Kevin Spacey out of it?
Right, because he's a sex fiend.
Right.
So they what is it called? I'm just gonna make up a name like All the Money in the World. I think that's the name of the movie.
That's a very unique case. That yeah. Anyway, fun thing to bring up. Though.
Super Luigi Galaxy did the same thing.
So yeah, I will keep chugging along with Metroid Prime Remastered. Maybe when I come back and I like see the later levels, my appreciation will grow. Maybe the best is yet to come.
Speaking of growing, I also played Katamari Damacy.
Oh, I forgot about this.
It was for free on a weekend when Bailey was available.
What platform?
The Switch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I guess that was on other platforms at one point.
Yeah, I think there's a Steam version.
Really? Oh, wow.
I would wager at least $2 on that.
Katamari Damacy. It's everyone's favorite rolling a ball, collecting just building a snowman. You're just getting bigger the more material you mow down. And
you play as the prince of the universe?
Yeah, and in order to please the king of the cosmos, you have to because he in a tantrum removed all the stars from the sky. So you have to like roll up like little bits and pieces of like, you start with like an ant and then you go up to like the size of a skyscraper. And he's pleased if the bigger your ball gets within the time limit. I wanted to make sure, because I thought like it's a concept that anyone can get behind. Just listen to my description. And I wanted Bailey's hands on it. Boy, I'm glad that she got hands on it. It suffers from being Japanese, like you'd expect, but it is the kinetic friction of how unwieldy this ball gets the bigger it gets, and trying to fight the inertia of the momentum going one way to get to like pick up the traffic cones that are in that direction. Trying to control this thing, because it doesn't have like one stick for camera, one stick for move. It's like both are move, and like you can quick pivot.
Okay. Yeah, I hear the controls are like pretty singular. Nothing else really like it.
I didn't see credits, but I played through like the whole thing. I got to the last level and didn't beat it.
Okay.
Bailey called me out because I was singing along to the music. Because
I was going to ask, what percentage of your enjoyment is due to the game's soundtrack?
At least 23%.
That seems low.
Okay, maybe 53.
Oh, wow, it's quite the bump.
What a seesaw. Yeah, she goes like, "Are you singing along?" And I'm like, "Shut up," because it's the multilingual whatever Japanese jazz fusion that only I like.
No, man, how could you not sing along to that?
Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, have you ever touched Katamari? Any of those Katamari games?
I have not.
Right. Yeah. And,
I should though, just to get the experience.
Beat Call of the Sea first.
Okay.
That's all I had to say for that, and I never ended up buying it. I just got my fill and got out. But that's what games I played.
Cool. That's what games I played.
And then that's a 3:00.
Yeah. You want to wrap up this podcast?
We could. I want to see how much because we've been recording for 2 hours, right? How much juice is left on this card? Oh, plenty. This is 24 minutes. Whether or not we wrap it up or you take a break is one of those, or in order.
Yeah, what would this episode be called? Like the no the no intermission special because there's nowhere clean to put an intermission.
I think I don't know. You said tickling your balls during the Deathloop talk. And I bookmarked that for whatever reason.
Banked that for later. Okay. Yeah, that's content complete. I've got some other stuff I want to do today. Let's just closing statements. What else are you excited to do with your calendar today, Heath?
Not today. I'm just gonna talk about video games. I think.
Even after I've left,
no,
just keep talking.
Yeah, it's just me at a brick wall, and I go. I'm just like, how come all the explosive barrels in Bulletstorm are green and not red?
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Then that was a huge.
Who would have thought?
Play testing. They didn't put it through quality assurance, and they were
maybe
like, no one is shooting these. No one even sees these green barrels.
Maybe all of their QA engineers were like red-green colorblind. They didn't know.
Like Janice.
Like Janice.
The Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah.
Yellow barrels or like yellow marked containers.
That game looks so good.
Why? But why not red?
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell you.
That game. I have so little interest in the Resident Evil franchise.
I think this is the year I dip my toes in.
By all means, I'm more likely to play like. I was about to say I'm more likely to play Bayonetta than Resident Evil, but I don't know if that's true. Resident Evil was made by Capcom.
Yes,
I'm more likely to play like a Capcom fighting game than Resident Evil.
Would you opt for Street Fighter or like Capcom versus Marvel? Or Marvel versus Capcom. What's your flavor?
Street Fighter 6 is. What fighting game is having like $1 million for first place?
Oh,
at a fight, not just a sum that they divvy up among the top 10.
First place gets the $1 million.
First place gets $1 million. I will play whatever game that is.
I don't know which one that is.
But you know why they did it? It's because they're trying to get people away from Riot Games' fighting game.
Oh.
It's to compete with everybody's going to try to jump ship because it's free to play and it's also got Riot's polish on it. So Street Fighter was like, fuck it, $1 million if you get first place. And it's attracting all of the non-Street Fighter people to Street Fighter. I think that's the case.
Sounds plausible.
Shut up. What am I going to do today? I don't know. I was rushing around cleaning the whole apartment.
For my sake?
Yeah, because we were to film and stuff.
Oh, right.
So I got nothing left but to I'm gonna try to brute force my way through the rest of Call of the Sea and then just try to get as much as I can before Bailey gets here.
Got it. I might eat at Moe's.
Exciting.
Later today, and then I have a digital game night with the Dads on a Mat people.
Oh.
I'm going to try an obscure train game I want to get some hands-on with.
Ooh.
Locomotive Works.
I would think if a train has a game in it, you've already... Yes. You heard me. You heard right. I would think you just buy it automatically.
It's not in print. So this is I'm doing a test.
That's why.
I'm doing a test drive to see if I want to make my own copy of it.
Oh, with buttons and trading and playing cards.
Yeah, I'd have to get the cards printed and print out some sheets. It should be a really easy print and play because the game is basically just a few cards and a bunch of dice. And I've got dice I can just grab from a different game.
Yeah.
From Liar's Dice. And I'll be good to go. But giving it a test run and then I'll report back.
All right. Well, and if you want to report back... you can write into Mobius Tubes Podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. We read every email, every single one. And that'll do it for episode 84. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll play fewer games next week so we can have more a diverse segmented show for you, listener.
Right. We will dial down the percentage of video games in this video game podcast.
Are you trying to see Mario movie? Because it comes out before the next time we record. Right?
It is not high on my priority list.
No.
But I mean, if the opportunity presented itself,
we might record before the Mario movie.
That movie I would happily watch if it fell into my lap, but I'm not going to seek it out.
Right.
All right.
Get out of here.
See ya.